You ever try so hard to avoid a problem that you actually end up causing it yourself? Well, that's pretty much what happened to this one Byzantine emperor. His massive overreaction gave Istanbul one of its most famous landmarks, all thanks to a classic case of Byzantine overthinking. So, is it possible to beat fate? It's a question people have been asking for, well, forever, right? Can you actually outsmart destiny? Use all your logic, your engineering, your sheer willpower to just sidestep what's written in the stars? A certain Byzantine emperor was absolutely convinced he could. And his story, it really makes you wonder. All right, so our story kicks off with a problem every parent can kind of relate to, being worried about your kid's future. The thing is, this particular dad just so happens to be a Byzantine emperor, and his solution? Yeah, it's not exactly typical. He goes straight to an oracle to get the scoop. And let me tell you, the oracle does not mince words. We're not talking about some vague, you'll meet a tall, dark stranger kind of thing. Nope. This is super specific and, honestly, terrifying. The oracle basically says, your daughter is going to be killed by a snake on her 18th birthday. Talk about a deadline. And this is where it gets really interesting, right? The thought process here. A regular person, a normal dad, might think, okay, let's call pest control. We're going to check her shoes every single morning. Simple stuff. But not this guy. He's an emperor. His brain goes, you know what? The state treasury is full. Let's just build a villa in the middle of the sea. And so that's exactly what he does. He greenlights this incredibly elaborate and, let's be honest, total overkill solution. A tower built on a tiny little rock in the Bosphorus Strait. You probably know it today as the Maiden's Tower. The whole goal was to create a fortress that was 100% snake-proof. So let's try to get inside his head for a second, okay? Because his entire plan, this whole tower thing, it's all based on a, well, let's call it a very unique understanding of what snakes can and can't do. And this just perfectly shows you where his head was at. So in the emperor's world, a snake is basically a superhero. It can swim across the powerful currents of the Bosphorus like an Olympic athlete. It can then scale the stone walls of a tower like a professional climber. But for some mysterious reason, the one thing a snake absolutely cannot do is slither onto a boat and hitch a ride. The logic is, wow. It's creative, I'll give him that. So you can imagine what happens to the poor princess. She gets shipped off to this isolated tower. Forget having friends over. There's no internet, no visitors. Her only companions are the seagulls. It's basically Rapunzel, but in the middle of the sea. A lonely, gilded cage, all because her dad has this very particular fear of seafaring reptiles. So years go by. The princess grows up in her beautiful prison, and with every passing year, the emperor gets more and more confident that he's cracked the code. And that brings us right to the main event, as the fateful day finally arrives. It's here, the big day, the one the oracle warned him about. The princess has turned 18, and hey, so far so good. Not a single snake has been spotted doing the butterfly stroke across the Bosphorus. The emperor, he is feeling very good about himself. Oh, you can just picture his pride, can't you? He's probably gloating. See, I beat the prophecy. My engineering defeated destiny. He's totally convinced he's put fate in an offside position, that he's already won the game. And to celebrate this epic victory over the cosmos, the emperor decides he's going to send his daughter a special gift. A symbol of his triumph, his love, a beautiful, lavish basket filled with her favorite grapes. What could possibly go wrong? Well, here's the thing. Unbeknownst to anyone, a tiny viper had snuck into that very basket back at the palace market. You can almost imagine it as the hero of some action movie, coiled at the bottom, just thinking, you thought you could keep me out? Think again. So the basket arrives at the tower, and the celebration begins. But this, right here, is where the whole story delivers its final ironic punchline. The princess, absolutely delighted by her father's gift, reaches into the basket to grab a juicy grape, and in that instant, clips. That one little sound, a small, sharp bite. The snake, delivered personally by the very man trying to protect her, fulfills its destiny. And that's the staggering irony of it all, isn't it? The emperor spends a fortune and isolates his daughter to build a snake-proof fortress. And in the end, he becomes the delivery service. He personally ships the agent of her doom directly to her door, shipping and handling included.
This story inspired a clever modern twist on a classic Turkish proverb. The original saying is basically about an opportunity being lost for good, but the new version, it perfectly sums up this legend. He who takes the snake crosses the tower. It's like saying the fatal mistake was literally delivered by hand.
Which brings us all the way back to our original question. In his elaborate attempt to outsmart fate, the emperor built the very mechanism of its fulfillment. So it leaves us with this final thought. How often, in trying to avoid a fear, do we end up running directly into it? Maybe the most inescapable traps are the ones we construct with our own anxieties.